won't decorate, won't dress up, won't wish you a happy whatever day it is. And though he'll reluctantly agree to come to your themed party, he'll stay in the back and scowl the whole time. In most cases, the hate is directed at just one holiday, whether it be Valentine's, Christmas, Easter, or hell, even Arbor Day. My friend Patrick, he hated Halloween with every fiber of his being. Now, Patrick hadn't always been that way. I'd known him ever since grade school, and we'd usually spend Halloween together. I noticed a sudden shift in his attitude around the time we got too old to go trick-or-treating, but too young to go out drinking. At first, I figured he was just being a normal, angsty teenager. Maybe he thought Halloween was just for babies. Maybe he was pissed off about not being able to go trick-or-treating anymore. Or maybe it was just a phase. Damned if I knew. It wasn't until last year that I found out the real reason. It was a few days before Halloween, and I had managed to drag Patrick to a costume party. Naturally, he'd shown up in his usual t-shirt and jeans and told the doorman he was dressed up as a broke college student. He was in that state of semi-drunkenness where he'd started slurring his words, but was still mostly coherent. Some chick wearing devil horns and almost nothing else ran into him, and I saw him flinch when he looked at her. He mumbled about how much he hated Halloween, and I finally got around to asking him why. That's when his face drained of color, as though he hadn't had years to prepare his answer. He emptied his cup and shuffled nervously from foot to foot. His story started with a promising, "You're not going to believe this, but when Patrick was 14, his parents left him alone on Halloween night. Nothing unusual there. He was more than old enough to take care of himself. They left him with a bag of candy and put him in charge of handing it out to the neighborhood kids, but were adamant that he stop by 10 p.m., lock the doors, and turn off the porch lights.
So I mean, if
10
you
p.m.,
could, and if
they
you
insisted,
would, hit
and
that
not
like,
a
hit
minute
that subscribe. This is
later.
our reaction channel.
There were enough
over
kids
here.
that night that
So,
Patrick had to
if
spend the
you
first half of
don't
the
do
evening
it,
sitting outside on the porch,
who will?
handing out candy to the seemingly endless procession of kids. Around 8:30 p.m., things quieted down enough for him to head inside,
So what kind
make
of
some popcorn, and start watching a horror movie. He had to pause every few minutes to cater to another
rules
cluster of
did your
children.
parents put
But as the
on
evening wore on,
your
the visits came
trick-or-treating?
fewer and farther between, until he only had to get up every 10 minutes or so. He hadn't heard a peep for a good 20 minutes when he noticed a figure making its way up the driveway. Patrick rolled off the couch and checked the time.
Makes sense.
10:08 p.m. Most kids had already gone home and were busy sorting through their loot. However, Patrick knew from experience that houses tend to give out more treats near the end of the night so they could just get rid of the surplus and close up shop. He figured this kid was just trying his luck, hoping for a jackpot. It was too late to turn off the lights and pretend he just wasn't home, so Patrick decided he'd give the kid the jackpot he deserved and would go dark as soon as he left. The figure rounded the corner as Patrick headed to the door. By the time he had armed himself with a handful of candy and opened the door,
So what kind of
figure had reached the foot of the
snacks
stairs.
y'all like?
He realized
what kind
then
of,
that the person just outside the beams of the porch light
what kind of activities
was
do you
much
do?
taller than a child.
We new to each other.
A
You know what I'm
parent,
saying?
he figured.
I gotta make
Maybe
sure
the kid had fallen asleep or was hiding
we
under the thick
around
black
the
cloak he
same
was wearing.
kind of, you know, we like the same stuff.
The man's costume was strange.
I am.
The fabric looked to be much higher
Mhm.
quality than anything you could buy at a
Reactor.
store, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It was a thick, tattered cloak, covered in chains that jangled with every movement. 2 black horns protruded from the top of the hood, leaving
Got to be
frilled,
scary.
frayed fabric all around the holes they had torn.
Trick or treat,
Whoa.
trick or treat,
Look here, sir.
giving me something good to eat.
What you want,
It
man?
bellowed.
It's all yours.
The voice was so unnatural that it sent a chill down
Listen,
Patrick's
man.
spine.
Here, take
He
the
swore to me that
candy,
it sounded like 2 people had spoken in
and you
unison.
can go about your way.
The figure
I'll go about
took another step
mine.
up the stairs, which brought him within the radius of the porch light. Patrick could now see he was wearing a goat's mask beneath his hood. 2
What
pearly
in
yellow
the
eyes
world?
with slitted pupils stared at him, and he stared back.
Why?
The mask was so lifelike.
That's crazy.
Its fur swayed softly in the breeze. Mist seemed to escape its wet nostrils,
Patrick,
and the
you
eyes
ain't-
looked
you
very
ain't right.
real. as though they had been ripped right
You
off an animal
crazy,
and glued
man.
on while they were still
Why you
fresh.
sitting there looking at that thing?
And
At that
suddenly,
man.
the goat's eyes blinked. On instinct, Patrick slammed the door shut and locked it. He could hear the patter
You
of something
just
thick
now
as the
going
figure
in the
climbed up the
house?
wooden steps.
Oh, heck you
Patrick
know.
looked out of the eye hole hesitantly.
You are insane. Why are you just not going in the house? You should have been in the house after you saw what he was. That's in his costume. That's crazy. Hey, you got it. You got it. It's all you.
Hoping he was wrong, praying the man would take his mask off and start laughing at him.
Yeah, hopefully.
Trick or treat.
Oh,
Trick
listen,
or
man.
treat.
Listen here, man.
Give me something good to eat.
It
You
said
can go
again.
home.
Patrick watched as a long
Everything's
forked
good.
tongue slithered out of its maw and
What?
licked its lips with feverish hunger. He strained his
Oh,
vision
no,
enough to
see.
notice hooved feet
It's time to
clicking
move.
against the
Well,
floor.
would that even matter?
Suddenly, it rammed into the door with all of its
Hey,
might.
B, what you doing?
Over and
You
over
okay
again.
for my door?
Patrick didn't know what else to do, but to press himself against the door in hopes of keeping it shut, and turning off the porch lights, in a vain attempt at pretending he wasn't home. As soon as the lights went off, the creature ceased its offense on the door.
Hey,
The
listen.
clattering of its footsteps
Listen.
slowly moved towards the living room window.
Nah, B, you.
In a
listen,
panic, Patrick
you
darted
gotta-
to the living room
You
and drew
gotta
the
up the
curtain shut.
glizz on him, man.
As he did so, he noticed every other house on the
You
street had
gotta-
already closed their lights.
It's only right,
He ran
bro.
through the first floor and turned off all the lights he could find, and then he ducked behind the couch and hid.
Cause ain't no way.
Thankfully, the sounds of rattling chains and hooves had stopped. Patrick studied me as he told this story, almost as though trying to gauge
Listen.
whether or not I believed him.
Listen here, man.
I didn't know what to say. It wasn't like him to spin yarns, but there was no way his story was true.
Listen, I be.
It was probably just some dude in a really
I
good
be
costume
shitting
trying to
bricks,
freak
buddy.
you out, man. Mission
You got
accomplished,
it.
I reassured him. Patrick shook his head and told me his story wasn't done. He continued. It hadn't been very hard for him to convince himself the whole thing had just been in his head. He figured
Terrible.
he'd had a sugar crash and dozed off mid-movie. It was all just a nightmare, nothing more. That is,
Hopefully.
until a year later, when Halloween rolled back around. He was home alone again, sort of.
Okay.
He snuck his girlfriend in as soon as his parents' car disappeared down the street.
Oh,
He and his girlfriend
shit.
left a bowl of candy on the porch and shut the curtains so they could canoodle in peace. Throughout the night, between the shrill screams
Who
of
said
bimbos getting
canoodle, man?
mutilated on TV, they heard kids running up and down the front steps to grab Halloween candy. Again, as the night progressed, fewer and fewer kids showed up.
Do y'all celebrate Halloween? Because this story right here, this will make you never want to celebrate Halloween again. If you do. Now, I don't believe in none of these holidays. But, you know, to each their own. It's crazy. Because this story right here sound like some crazy
Until the trick-or-treaters trickled to a stop.
Uh-oh.
Neither Patrick nor his girlfriend thought to turn off the porch light when 10 p.m. ticked by. Before long, they heard the clunk of something heavy on the porch, followed by a strong knock at the door. Not noticing the time and thinking the bowl of candy needed to be filled, Patrick walked over and opened the door a crack. He saw a yellow eye with a rectangular pupil that darted from side to side until it fixed upon him.
Oh, time to poop, man. Hey,
Trick or treat.
wait,
Trick or treat.
sir, please.
Give
Listen.
me something good to eat.
It said as a hooved foot kicked
Listen.
at the door. Patrick screamed and slammed into the door in an attempt to shut it, but the goat-headed stranger was putting all of its weight behind it. It was a tug of war, or rather, a push of war, with the goat trying to open the door and Patrick trying desperately to shut it. Beads of sweat rolled down his face as Patrick
Look,
yelled at his
don't
girlfriend to
worry,
help him.
you got it,
Together,
man.
they
I
managed to
promise.
push it far enough to lock
This-
the deadbolt.
I don't want none of
But
this.
even then, the goat outside rammed against the door repeatedly. It looked as though the door was going to fall right off its hinges. Patrick's girlfriend was screaming. She hadn't seen what was on the other side of the door, but she knew it was trouble. "Turn off the lights!" yelled Patrick
Man, y'all
as he
just
desperately
now
pressed
doing
himself
that?
against the door. She flicked them shut, and suddenly everything went quiet. They waited in the dark for a while, neither one daring to look out of the door or pull the curtains open to see if the thing was still outside. It wasn't until they heard the crackling of a car up the gravel driveway that the two finally relaxed. I stared at Patrick this time, in clear disbelief. It sounded like horseshit to me. Or
Well,
I guess
hey,
I should
listen.
say goat shit.
You
Every
got
year,
jokes, huh?
he said,
You got
his
jokes.
tone dull and his gaze distant. He comes every year, if I have so much as one light on. No matter where I am, my parents' house,
As long as you
girlfriends, it
protect
doesn't
your,
matter.
as long as you protecting your
It finds
anus,
me.
you'll be
I
alright.
let out a chuckle and patted him on the
Now,
back. I
listen,
played it off
I'm
as a
kidding.
joke, fully expecting him to crack a smile and tell me he was pulling my leg. But he didn't. So I changed the subject and brought him a drink. Halloween came and went, and I forgot all about his story.
Okay.
Which brings us to this Halloween. I was hosting a party at my place. I had invited Patrick, but he refused, as usual.
Patrick,
Suddenly,
dope, man.
a few minutes past 10 p.m., my phone rang. It was Patrick. I picked up and said hello, but all I could hear were his sobs and the sound of violent banging on wood. Imagine the sound of your pissed off landlord banging on your door demanding payment,
Hey man, I
multiplied
would
by
have turned
20.
the lights off if
Patrick's
this was
mumbles
what's
were
going
nearly
on.
indecipherable through his choked cries.
Hey, whoever you are, you a bad friend because you didn't have to. He did
kept
this
saying,
to
I
prove
didn't
this to
understand
you.
what he meant. He screamed. I heard what I thought was his door splintering open. There was a loud slam, and the sounds of jangling chains. Patrick screamed a scream so feral that I felt my body seize up. And then, I heard it. I heard the most chilling voice I have ever heard in my entire life.
Listen, this is what you.
A voice so cold it ran daggers
This
through
is
my
what you
veins.
wanted, man.
A voice that reverberated through my speaker and seemed to not have one, but
This
two
story
sources.
is insane, bro.
I don't mean there was an echo. I mean, it sounded like a man, but with that normal voice came one that was deeper and produced an unholy growl with every syllable.
Now, this reaction channel, this is the first video, but no matter what
It uttered.
scary
I heard
creatures
something being
you come
dragged.
across in
Patrick's
these,
screams and the sound of jangling became distant
just know
until I couldn't hear them
there's a
anymore.
few people on this planet
I immediately
would
left my
go
party and sped across
above
town to
and
Patrick's
beyond
condo.
for.
All I found was his phone on the welcome mat, his door hanging off of its
If it's
hinges,
some creepy creeps going
and the
on.
dozens of solar lights he had installed in his flower bed this past summer.
Well, that's your friend and your fault, and you did this, and you should feel ashamed of yourself. Cause hey, he didn't believe me. He didn't believe me. Let me call him up. Why this guy, this thing, this creature, this being is outside my door. Let me see what he gonna say now. Well, if y'all enjoyed that, hit that like, hit that subscribe. And until next time, peace.